This morning it is Tuesday, October 24th. It's 10 a.m. This is the weekly meeting of the Weber County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Gage Farr. I'll be conducting this morning. With me to my left is Commissioner Sharon Bolos. Commissioner Jim Harvey is excused. He's out of town on some personal business, but we will go ahead and conduct the meeting as scheduled. We're going to start the meeting this morning with Pledge of Allegiance given by Christy Bingham, invocation by Craig Brandt, and I'll give the thought of the day, then we'll go to public comments. Christy?
Our Father in heaven, we thank thee for this opportunity that we have to gather at this Weber County Commission meeting and ask thy blessing to be upon those who participate and those who speak, that we'll be able to make decisions that are in the best interest of the citizens of this county. We're grateful for them and pray that they have all that they stand in need of. Father, we're grateful for this beautiful time of year, and we appreciate what thou hast given us in the land that surrounds us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you. So, Commissioner, my thoughts go to what we just talked about a second ago, which was the snow that we're anticipating very soon. And as I got the highlights of the news this morning, it was pointed out that Weber County beat out the Cottonwoods, and the Ski Magazine just recently came out and rated the top 30 ski resorts in the West. And it's interesting, probably some people already know about this, but Powder Mountain, Weber County Resort, was rated number 1, and Snow Basin, Weber County, was rated number 2. This is the first time that I remember that we've been able to, we've always been in the top 4 or 5, but usually the Cottonwoods, Snowbird, some of those down there take the political clout. But I think the people realize that what we have to offer here in Weber County is by far the best snow. It's the best ski experience, which makes me both happy and sad at the same time. Because I go to the Snow Basin sometimes during the week when we don't have a meeting or on the weekends. The lines are substantially longer than I remember them back in my high school days. And by the way, the passes are substantially higher than I remember in my high school days. But anyway, I think Mr. John Watson remembers that very well. He's about the same age as me. So anyway, it's a great thing for Weber County. We can both be excited, and as we see those cars come up from the Cottonwoods, come across to Snow Basin on those mornings, we can be thankful for their tax dollars, for what they spend, but we can also be appreciated for the great resorts we have here in Weber County. So that's my thought.
That's great.
Let's go to public comments, if we might. Anyone in the audience that would like to come forth and address the commissioners, now is your opportunity. We'd like you to keep it to 3 minutes or under. Seeing nobody approaching the mic. Christy, anyone online? No. All right, let's move to our recognition. This is a great part we have to talk about this morning, which is recognition of some of our great Weber County employees. We're going to start with Wendy Glass for creating a process to improve the experience at the Weber County Transfer Station, especially for the My Hometown events. Sean Wilkinson will give that presentation. This is, Wendy obviously works at the transfer station, and we've heard some great things about how she's been able to simplify, speed things up at the transfer station. That's very much appreciated. Sean, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Frower. Yes, we're pleased to honor Wendy this morning and recognize her for the good work that she does out at the transfer station. Let me give you some quick facts about Wendy. She has worked for Weber County for almost 28 years. So she started out at our previous landfill
Wow.
on 24th Street and then came to the transfer station when that shut down. So she has seen it all as far as what has happened in Weber County over those 28 years. She creates what she calls garbage pail kids. I don't know if you remember those cards from the 1980s, but every employee at the transfer station gets their own card, and it has a creative picture that Wendy draws of them and then a name that they're given. It's just to create some camaraderie and some teamwork out there. Mine has a basketball on it, so it makes me happy. Anyway,
He's a son.
that's right, Wilkins' son.
I do it just off their name, so don't offend anybody.
Right. Her favorite thing about working at the transfer station are the customers and the other employees, just the people that she gets to work with, and then some of the crazy things that she has seen that come through the garbage. It's been an interesting experience. As far as the Hometown Ogden project goes, this is a service project that Ogden City partners with other organizations on. Volunteers come and do service projects in inner city Ogden to help clean up some of the homes in the neighborhoods. And they happen on Saturdays, which is our busiest day at the transfer station. Some of those service projects were getting delayed because people would come to dump at the transfer station, but they'd have to wait in line, and it was causing some problems. So as we discussed that, Wendy came up with a great idea, and she just volunteered to come in on her day off on those days when the My Hometown project was going on. And she operates our new scale that the commercial trucks come through, but we don't have a lot of commercial traffic on Saturday. So she would come in, and the My Hometown people would come through that scale so they could get in and out. And she volunteered her time to do that so that this project was efficient and they could get their work done. This is what we received from Ogden City. This is from Vince Ramos, who's their public services operations manager. And he said, at our recent My Hometown meeting, I heard a lot of praise from the group about how nice and fast it's been going to the transfer station during our My Hometown events. I let them know that Wendy is the one that deserves all of the praise, not me, because she worked with us and made things move quickly for these events. They liked that we are all working together to help our citizens. Thank you, Wendy, for working with us and the My Hometown group. Ask that I pass a big thank you to you as well. So we just wanted to recognize Wendy for the great work that she does and the great employee that she is for Weber County.
Great. Wendy, would you like to say a couple of words?
No. I just like working here. It's been good to me, and there is a lot of funny stories in garbage.
Well, we appreciate all the efforts you put forth for the public out there for Weber County. I think Mr. John Watson, who represents My Hometown Project, has a couple words as well. Please come up, John.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome,
you. Thank
Mr.
you,
Watson.
Commissioners. Grateful to be here. I'm John Watson. I have a business here locally in Ogden. This is a wonderful valley. I love what Gage mentioned of what is recognized in this valley. There's so many good things. Today we recognize Wendy, and let me just tell you, I'm the chair of My Hometown initiative here in Ogden. It's a joint effort between Ogden City to help some of the areas of Ogden to improve the homes they live in, improve their neighborhoods, make them safer, and give a hand up for some of the people. We go in and do some code violation areas to save the people fines, and we had a difficult time getting rid of a lot of the waste that was being produced from those homes. I went out personally with Gene Stevens to meet with Wendy one day after our first couple of times, and we had people standing or waiting in line sometimes as much as an hour. And Wendy was the one that recognized it. But we went out and she said, I've got a new idea. And she showed us the commercial lane, the new scale, and she said, and I'm going to man it. I want to take a second on that. On our days off, there's not very many of us that want to come back into work. and to go through a process of spending a day of a place you're at every day when you could be doing other things. I was just really kind of knocked off my feet that someone that has been there as long as she has was willing to sacrifice her time to make a project and a program and an initiative here in Ogden and Weber County better. She is a tremendous example of a Weber County employee that steps up and does her job with joy and excitement in her life. She made it fun for the people going through in the weighing process. They all commented after we started this, and Vince from the city was one of her champions that said, I didn't think we could ever make anything like this happen. And because of her initiative, it has happened, and it's sped up the process and made it possible. We're closing in on about 1,000 homes in the last 2 years that we've done in Ogden City. And I wish I had the number, I've got it somewhere, of how much waste we've actually taken to the transfer station that you have helped us to get in and out in a very, very good way. So thank you for the help you've given my hometown.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to say, we want to thank Hometown, John, for all the work you've done for this community. That's a huge effort for a nonprofit, and I know that you have headed that up, and we appreciate your efforts very much. And don't go away. We're going to get a picture here in a second. So, Commissioner Bolos.
Just want to thank Wendy not only for your initiative but your generosity. That does say something about a person when you have the willingness to come in on your day off and help this this great effort that's been going on in Ogden City for a few years. So thank you so much.
So, Wendy, again, thank you very much. We're going to do this next recognition, but don't go away. We're going to get a picture and then do a little presentation to you at the same time. So our next recognition, and by the way, we could recognize a lot more people at these meetings. We could probably spend the rest of the day, every Tuesday, recognizing the great people at Weber County. We just, quite frankly, don't have the time to do it, but it's critical when we see outstanding efforts, like we see with Wendy and Corey coming up next, the efforts they put forth for the public, for the people of Weber County. It's just very impressive. So we're going to talk now about Corey Christensen. And Corey received his electrical journeyman's license just recently. And we're very fortunate to have Corey on the Weber County team. And I'm going to invite Bryce Taylor to come up and give us a little history and talk about Corey. And then we're going to give him an award too, and an opportunity to talk as well.
Yes, thank you for recognizing Corey and giving us this opportunity to come in. Corey's been here he started when he was 19, before he had facial hair, that's what he said. He started here as 19, he was in recreation, and we had an opportunity in our department in property management, so he came over. He's going on 11, 12 years of service for Weber County residents, and we're grateful that he's in our department, and he was able to come over, and he's been a great asset. But so Corey we do maintenance in our department, so we get to interact with pretty much most every department in Weber County, and Corey is great at interaction, working with the departments, getting the needs done for the departments, for events, for problems that we have. He is a great asset in that. He's done most everything in our department. He's mowed lawns, he does our locks and keys, he is moved on to the electrical side of our department, but his knowledge is just very, it's a great addition to our department, his knowledge that he brings, the jobs that we've done, the things that he's able to remember to help other employees in the department, and able to make the job go as smooth as possible. So as far as his electrical apprentice program, we talked to Corey about some things that he wanted to progress in, what he wanted to do, and he stepped up and wanted to do the electrical apprentice program. So we got with the state, got him started in that program. For those that don't know, the apprenticeship program to get a journeyman's license is a 4-year commitment to the state as a registered apprentice. Go to school 2 nights a week, and you also have to work full-time. You have to put in a minimum of 2,000 working hours a year to get to 8,000 hours to be able to qualify to take your electrical journeyman test. And then on top of the test, to take the test, there's a practical test, a code test, and a theory test. So there's some time dedicated into this, of work time and also personal time that you have to spend away from your family and dedicate the time to do that. And Corey stepped up. He wanted to do that for Weber County, and he's been taking on the electrical work and anything else we can get him to do and throw at him, he's always willing to do. So we're grateful for Corey, and we are proud of his effort and what he's done, and we're great that we have him. So
Thank you, Bryce. Corey, do you have anything you'd like to say? Now's your opportunity.
Just that I'm thankful for all the help along the way with all the different bosses that helped me through all the questions I had. It was nice to have some help in the background. So, thank you.
Well, from the commission, I just want to say thank you very much. We appreciate all the hard work, 4 years and the work. And the public, I don't think, appreciates what the property management department does. You guys are out in the field. You're doing anything from air conditioning to electrical, plumbing, you name it. We have a lot of buildings in this county to maintain, and we do it a very cost-effective way. In fact, you receiving that journeyman designation allows us not to go out to bid as much to the contractors, and saves substantial tax dollars for the people in Weber County, because you're able to complete that work with your license and with your designation you now have. So again, I want to give you our personal thanks and congratulations for the achievements you've made. Commissioner Bolos.
Congratulations, Corey, and I'm proud of you. That's a lot of work. When I was reading what it takes to get that license, it's pretty amazing. So I appreciate your sacrifice for the county.
Thank you.
All right, now's the fun part. So Jessica, we're going to get Corey, don't go away. We want to come up here and we're going to give you a little presentation here. You get one. And John, why don't you come up as well? Let's do Corey first, and then.
we won't want to apologize. Come on.
Yeah. Get the rest of you. Scott. John, get up there. You're part of this team. Get right there.
They wanted to embarrass Corey, so we're going to.
You got your whole crew here.
Most of them are. There's still a few of them.
Oh my gosh.
You guys are the
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Roy. Let's give them a round of applause. Little token of our appreciation. Jump right in there. Yep, up here. Congratulations, that's great. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, that's always fun, Commissioner. recognize these great people we have in the county. With that, let's go to our consent items, starting with G 1 through 9, it appears. And we have Mr. Jason Horn, I believe, that's going to give the summary. So consent item 1, G1, request for approval of warrants 9227 through 9289 and number 479935, 480042, and 298-301 in the amount of $4,397,576.28. 2, request for approval of a purchase orders in the amount of $230,922.14, and we'll go to Mr. Horn for the summary of warrants and purchase orders. Jason.
Good morning, Commissioners. So we'll start with the warrants first. 21%. Actually, hold on just a second. Let's start again. 173 warrants for $4.4 million. 21% of that, or $902,000, is escrow release, Osprey Ranch. 17%, or $733,000, is transportation tax funds to West Haven City for 3300 South Road project. 13%, or $591,000, is paving for county roads. 9%, or $384,000, is the wayfinding project. 8%, or $414,000, is the jail, nursing and mental health services. 6% is $250,000 for paramedic services, and 5%, or $222,000, is pass-through grants to water and sewer districts in the Ogden Valley. As far as purchase orders are concerned, there were 17 POs for $231,000. 42% of that, or $98,000, is the conference center. Concrete for loading entrance, repairs to cast iron pipes, building security and lighting. 29%, or $67,000, is the transfer station, and that's for asphalt for a new pad. 11%, or $25,000, is the health department for vaccines. 7%, or $17,000, is Homeland Security for ATVs, and 6%, or $14,000, is for the roads department, electric fence for Upper Valley Shop. Any questions that I can help you with on those?
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner? Doesn't appear. Thank you for that presentation. Let's now go to number 4, request for approval of new business licenses. 5, request for approval of an easement agreement by and between Weber County and SMHG Land Co., LLC, for storm drainage improvements for the Powder Mountain subdivision and Village Nest at Powder Mountain. 6, request for approval to ratify a contract by and between Weber County and Enola Chavez for the October 2023 match races that were held at the Golden Spike Event Center. 7, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Simple Treasures Boutique for the Simple Treasures Holiday Boutique to be held at the Golden Spike Event Center. 8, request for approval to ratify a contract by and between Weber County and Magical Celebrations for strolling performances at the 2023 Weber County Fair. Last, 9, request for approval of an amendment to the professional services contract by and between Weber County and VCBO Architect for the Ogden Eccles Conference Center remodel. Those are our consent items. Commissioner, questions, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve consent items G 1 through 9.
Thanks. I'd second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent items are approved as read. Let's now go to our action items. H1, request for approval of a memorandum of understanding by and between Weber County and Ogden School District to continue working with the Integrated Community Action Now model as an intergenerational poverty mitigation strategy. Presenter, looks like we have Carrie Maddox, Equity and Access Supervisor with the Ogden School District. Carrie, would you like to come up and make that presentation? Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Appreciate you being with us.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to just speak on this partnership. I represent Ogden School District, and we do have very high percentages of intergenerational poverty families. And these families experience trauma. This is a barrier to the student success in school because of all and having ICANN as a partner, they help us with those wraparound services. We are experts in education. We are becoming more experts in social emotional learning, and we have our own social workers. We do home visits. We have wraparound services. But to do that deep level of work with whole families to really make a difference, ICANN does that through their resource integration coaches. Another thing that we do in this partnership is we have built a trust over these many years to share data. So we can share the data of our students with these RICs, and they can help them get into the resources that they need. We also consider ourselves community schools, and we align all of our communities together to really not duplicate effort. We are not the experts in intergenerational poverty, but our resource integration coaches are from Weber County. So we trust them, we see them making a difference, and the students gradually become better prepared to learn and feel safer. So I'm really appreciative of that.
Right.
And hope for a long partnership that will grow continually.
Good. Okay.
Have any questions for me?
Any questions? So anyone, I know that you have some of your people here. I know Bob Hunter's here. Bob, did you want to make a comment on this? You've actually were the one that brought this to us a couple weeks ago.
Commissioners, I just want to say how much we appreciate our work with the Ogden School District. Superintendent Rasmussen on through the entire staff, including Carrie Maxson, have been amazing to work with. Their concern is what happens to those kids, and they want the very best things to happen in their lives. I just wanted to add, Carrie talked about our resource integration coaches, and they're just amazing. I've been traveling out with them to families, and the thing that makes it successful is they don't just say, go see so-and-so, go see so-and-so, go to that place, fill out this paper. They go with them, and they offer a warm hand. And every one of them has the heart that is required to do that kind of thing with those families. So we're very proud of them, and with the backup people, the systems people in the office who help make it all go very smoothly. So I just wanted to say that. We've got some great employees here, and we appreciate the partnership. And as a result, families and their children are going to be much more successful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Carrie, appreciate that. You know, I've worked with Madeline a little bit a couple of years ago. It was involved with the school district, and that's a big job that you folks have up there with the school district. We appreciate what you do, and keep up the good work. With that, Commissioner, ready to take action?
Okay, I will make a motion to approve the MOU between Weber County and Ogden School District as presented by Ms. Maxson.
Great, and I'll second that. Place a motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. MOU's approved. Thanks, Carrie, for being with us. Let's go now to action item H2, request for approval to adopt the tentative operating and capital budget for Weber County for the 2024 calendar year, and to set a public hearing on November 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m. to consider a Weber County property tax increase of 7.25%, or $3,943 and, let me say, $3,943,146. That's be $35.19 per year on an average residence to fund the increased cost of maintaining existing operations with the county. Mr. Scott Park.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you are aware, budget process has started back in August with the county sending out files and requesting department requests for the budgets for the upcoming year. And then we went through a bunch of budget hearings, some long days, in end of September, 1st of October, as we were striving to compile a 2024 tentative budget. And through this process, I can assure you that, as you well know, the Weber County's commitment to financial stability is unwavering. And During years of escalating increases in inflation and rising costs, the county has not raised its general operating tax rate since 2016. But currently, we're facing some difficulties in maintaining essential services and attracting and retaining qualified staff. And one example of this is that we have 22% of our frontline sheriff positions open and vacant. We can't staff them. In addition, we're experiencing some inflationary pressures, such as surge in materials and fuel prices, escalating utility costs, and now 3 years in a row of double-digit increases on our health insurance. And all these are putting a further strain on our county budget, and it's becoming a challenge to provide the same level of services that we have been providing to our citizens with the resources that we have. So to address these challenges, the county first looked inward. We went through to see what we could cut and what services we could reduce, and we asked every department to go through their budgets detailed, line by line, and look for ways that they could save money. And I was pleased to see the response from our departments. They identified nearly $2.5 million of reductions and service decreases and efficiencies. And so with that $2.5 million, we were able to start our budget and looking through, where we could allocate that money. However, these savings were just not enough to offset these increased costs. And so what we're doing is we're proposing a modest tax increase. It's 7.25%, which works out to be, like you said, $35.19 per year, or about $2.93 per month on an average home. And these adjustments in the tax will help us bridge that financial gap and help us to continue to provide those essential services without creating a substantial burden for our residents. And there is a public hearing that's scheduled on November 28th at 6 p.m. in this location, where we'll take feedback on the tentative budget. The tentative budget is available on the county's website. If you just go to the main county webpage, right on the front page, there's a button that says click here, and it'll take you to the tentative budget. It includes a modest increase, 3% cost of living increase for our employees, and a 2% based off of pay for performance evaluations. And then we have some other targeted market adjustments in there for positions that are furthest behind the market. It also includes the reduction of 11 positions from our prior year budgets, as some of our grants are ending, but also as departments have voluntarily given up positions to help fund these cost of living and these pay for performance adjustments. And so with that, Commissioners, unless you have any questions, the 2024 tentative budget is available, and I would ask that you approve it at this time. And we'll have a public hearing on the 28th, and we'll adopt a final budget in December of 2024, after we've heard public feedback.
Great, thank you very much. So just I wanted to clarify questions. You hit it very well in your presentation, but so the last time that we had a general fund tax increase was 2016.
Correct.
We've had a couple of small ones dealing with libraries and flood control, obviously, but this is the first time since 2016. And since 2016, do you have just a rough number of what we've seen in inflation? I know last year we saw a little, Social Security was about an 8% inflation factor.
So about 8.7% was what Social Security gave for the 2023 year,
right.
2022 year that took effect in 2023. The year prior to that was 5.7%. I don't have the exact numbers for the previous years, but the request that we're asking for, that 7.25%, is less than what Social Security gave for 1 year, and we're asking for that 7.25% to cover from 2018, 2016, all the way through 2024's budget. So we're asking for less than the cost of inflation of 1 year, even though it's been several years since we've
let alone since 16, a number of years that we've seen inflation about every year. So, and we've been able to accomplish that. And I've said this before in other meetings, by being very conservative and efficient in our budget. We look for our departments, as we did this year, because we anticipated we weren't going to be able to ride the storm on inflation any longer to provide those core services. And they actually came back to us with, like you said, $2.5 million in their own budget cuts, or the increase may have been higher. So again, kudos to our departments looking after those public tax dollars, realizing that we need to make every savings and cut before we increase taxes. But Commissioner Bolos, comments?
I appreciate your presentation, Scott, and you mentioned our long budget meetings, and I just want to thank you and Stephanie, who spend that much time, times 5 or more, in doing these budgets, and a lot of preparation and a lot of questions answered for me as the new kid on the block. I've been in Scott's office my share of time, so thanks for your help in the budget.
Yeah, and Scott and Stephanie, that whole department deserve our thanks and praise for getting us through that budget process. And I might mention that this year we did invite the members of the public, it's a public meeting, to be on Zoom, to be there as we go through those departments and listen to the budget request and where we ended up. So, and we did have we didn't have a substantial number of people, but we did have a few that I think were interested in that process. And we appreciate that. But we will look forward to that meeting on November 28th at 6 p.m. to go over the final. So this, just to be clear, this is the tentative budget approval. The final will be on that date, 6 p.m., and that will be the opportunity for the public to be heard as well. Correct? So with that, Commissioner, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adopt the tentative budget and to set the public hearing for November 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
Thank you. We have a motion. I'll second that. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Tentative budget's approved. Scott, thank you again. Let's now go to our public hearing. This would be a request to, a motion to adjourn the public meeting and reconvene as a public hearing.
So moved.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Public hearing to discuss amendments to the operating and capital budget of the Weber County budget for the 2023 calendar year. Scott Park, you're back up.
I am. Thank you, Commissioner. So now we're shifting gears. So now we're not talking about the future budget. Now we're talking about the budget of this current year. So we set the budget for this current year, this time last year, but every so often things come up that we need to modify our existing budget, and that's what's happened this year. We try to do this at least quarterly to make sure that we're staying on top of things. And you have a summary in front of you of what's happened, and basically what we've done is we've been able to receive some additional grants from the state of Utah, from the federal government, from the Forest Service, and what we're doing is we're requesting permission to take that additional revenue and spend it. So anytime we adjust a budget where we increase expenditures, we have to go through a budget change process. So even though we have revenue to cover these costs, it's not going to take any draw of fund balance. We still need permission from the commissioners to increase our revenue and expenditure budget. So we have about $520,000 of additional revenue from grants and settlements coming in, of which we're asking to spend about $372,000 of new dollars. The rest of that money will help offset some existing expenses that are already in our budget. In addition to that, we've been successful at our conference center, our Golden Spike, and our Ice Sheet in our concessions departments, and our sales are actually exceeded our forecasts, but so have the cost of sales. And so we're asking to amend the budget up to use that additional revenue to cover the additional costs of providing those concessions. So there's no additional draw to the fund balance from that. And then our transfer station also has, just the volume has increased. We've had more garbage come in than we had expected, and so more revenue to cover the disposal costs. So all those costs, the revenues and the expenses are balanced. There's no draw from general fund. There are only two items that are actually being requested that will draw general fund dollars, and the first one is Public Defender Capital Defense and Appeals. And what that is that we've had more appeals than we had budgeted for originally. We don't really have control over the number of appeals, and we have to fund the appeals. We don't really have much of a choice. It's a state statute. It's mandated. We work well with the state. We try to secure grant funds to help cover those costs. But in this instance, our appeals are just higher than we had forecasted, and we don't really have much of a choice. We have to pay for those appeals. The second issue was some opportunities to do some improvements at the transfer station, laying some asphalt and some other various building improvements that is part of our capital projects plan we had hoped to do in the next few years, but we were able to accelerate those and do them this year. So those are the two that are actually drawing funds that aren't covered with revenue, but we have sufficient fund balance to cover both without any issues. So with that, I present to you these changes for the 2023 operating and capital budgets.
Great. Questions, Commissioner Bolos?
I don't have any.
Okay. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that, we'd go to public comments now for our public hearing. Anyone in the audience in the chamber would like to come forward and make comments, now's your opportunity to do so. Don't see any. Krista, anyone online like to make a comment on the tentative budget? All right. Okay, it doesn't look like she thought she was coming up, but. All right, thanks very much. I'd look for a motion to adjourn our public meeting now and reconvene, or our public hearing, excuse me, and reconvene as a public meeting.
So moved.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now let's take action on our public hearing. It's request for approval of a resolution amending the operating and capital budget of Weber County for the 2023 calendar year.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 44-2023.
All right. And I'll second that. Craig?
Roll call vote for Resolution 44-2023. Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Commissioner Faur?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Scott, your your budget's approved, your changes. All right, let's go to commissioner comments.
None for
Commissioner
me.
Bowles.
None for me.
None for you? All right, I think I said mine earlier, so I'd entertain a final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much for being here.